Welcome back. Before we begin, there are a few things I want to start by saying. First off, I believe in the previous episode, I said that I was going to explain everything from scratch in case you came from Ren'Py and you didn't know anything about Unreal. Well, I decided to say screw that because I realized that would really annoy anyone that already knows Unreal. And there are already a lot of videos out there that introduce Unreal to new people, so maybe go watch one of those first. Maybe I'll make a video of my own introducing Unreal, but I kinda doubt it. Secondly, well, there it is. I apologize for all the I'm gonna say, and probably have said already. It's probably comparable to the Robin Scherbatsky drinking game by now, but I would like to apologize for that. I'm not used to making videos yet, and hopefully it doesn't annoy you too much. And third, if you installed the Not Yet Dialog plugin from the marketplace, you don't actually have to copy and paste it into a plugin folder. Instead, you have to go to Edit, Plugins, and somewhere over here will be the dialog plugin. You have to click Enable, and it will tell you to restart the engine, and you have to restart the engine then. Alright, let's begin. So let's talk about the actual plugin itself. When you right click here, you'll notice that there's a new option under the things you can create. Under dialog system, there's one for dialog. Let's click that. We'll call this test DLG. Test dialog. You can't put spaces, by the way. I wish they would just automatically replace spaces with underscores, but hey, that's whatever. And we start with a start node. This is the only start node that we can have in our dialog, and we can't delete this or anything. If you try hitting delete, nothing will happen. This start node is basically, well, hold on, let's see, the question script. It's basically the, wait for it, label start, right here in Ren'Py. This is just where our script starts from. And there are a couple of things we can do with this. Well, in order to add actual dialogue to our dialogue system, we can either right click and create a speech node, and then click and drag from the edge of our start to the edge of another node, or we can just click and drag off that edge and choose speech. To add text to the speech, we're gonna just go to the left hand side right here where it says text. We can add the text. Let's say, welcome to this tutorial series. And you notice a big giant none right here above the actual text. This is the speaker's name, whoever's saying this. If we want to change that, we can just go to participant name up here, click on that, and we'll say Ispheria. That is me. So now it says Ispheria, welcome to this tutorial series. If we drag off this, add another speech node, it automatically starts with Ispheria as the participant name. If you don't want a participant name, you can just click on that X to get rid of it. This will say something like, what should I say? Sorry it took so long. Hopefully it was worth it, but it probably wasn't. Yes, I'm very pessimistic. Alright, so we saved that. Let's try getting that onto our output log for now. To do this, let's go to our level blueprint. We're actually not going to do anything on our level blueprint in the actual finished tutorial, but let's do that for now. In our event can play, we can drag off this, choose start dialog. And when we start a dialog, we can choose which dialog to start. That's going to be our test DLG, in case we have multiple dialog things. And off our participants, let's click off that and make array. And this array is going to be our participants. It's going to be for every speaker in here. We only have one, it's Ispheria. We need to have an object who thinks its name is Ispheria. Yeah. That's not going to be the, where is it? Context browser. If we create a new blueprint class, let's make it as an actor. Let's call this participant. When I say it thinks its name of the sphere, I don't mean the name of the class or anything like that. I mean, it's going to need to inherit from, let's go to our class settings, inherit from DLG dialog participant. And in our interfaces, dialog callback, we have to modify our get participant name. And over here, we can say its name is Aspheria. So back in our, let's drag this into our world. And in our level blueprint, make a reference to that, and make that our array. So we hit play right now, nothing happens, because it's up to us to do things with that data from our dialog system. Oh, let's also add an end node right here, just because we really should. So back in our level blueprint, what we're going to do is off our dialog context, let's promote this to a variable first off. This is going to be our DLG context. And I'm going to tell our DLG context to get active node text, and we're just going to print this out. Print. So we play. Welcome to this tutorial series. Hooray, I printed out. Now how do we move on to the next node? Because right now we're on node 0. In order to get to node 1, we need to tell it to choose an option. So let's make some, let's right click 1. Keyboard event, when we press 1, we're gonna go tell our, get our DLG context, and we're gonna say choose child. And 1 is going to be 0. Just to save some time later, we're going to make 1 for 2 as well. 2 DLG context, choose child. This is going to be child number 1. Because this is an array starts at 0, so our first option is number 0, our second option is number 1, etc. And 1 more for 3. Option number 2. And when we choose our child, we are going to tell, we're going to get our DLG option, get active node text, and we're going to print it. Compile, press play. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial series. If we try hitting 2, we get an error because there is no option number 1. It only has one valid option. Same with if we hit 3. If we hit 1, we move on to the next node. Sorry it took so long. If we hit 1 again, hopefully it was worth it, but it probably wasn't. And if we hit 1 again, nothing pops up because we hit the end node. So, let's add some options for our player to choose from. Over here, let's make a speech child. This is going to be our question. We'll ask something like, have you made a visual novel before? Get rid of this. And to give it multiple options, we just need to have multiple children. So add a speech child, add a speech child. Now we have 2 options. This first one is going to be yes. This second one is going to be no. If we say yes, we'll say excellent. Hope you enjoy making visual novels with Unreal 4. If we say no, that's too bad. Hope this series doesn't scare you off. And we both need to go to a end node. Hit play again. Welcome to this tutorial series. Sorry it took so long. Hopefully it was worth it, but it probably wasn't. Have you made a visual novel before? Press 1. Excellent. Hope you enjoy making visual novels with Unreal 4. Try that again. Have you made a visual sorry, I clicked 1 too many times. Have you made a visual novel before? Hit 2. That's too bad. Hope the series didn't scare you off. So just selecting choices work. Let's actually make it so we can see when we have choices. So on our, where is it? DLG context, let's get our option num. This is going to be a number of options we have. Specifically, this is going to be the number of options that we have that we can select. I'll get into what I mean by that later. And let's make a for loop. For loop. Option num -1 because our for loop is inclusive. Execute loop body for each index from start index to stop index inclusive. So we have to do -1, otherwise we'll end up with one more than we actually have. And we are going to, in our DLG context, get option text, and it's going to be the index. This. Let's make this toString because we want to append some stuff. Append string append. Index is going to be our option number, so let's add 1 so it's the keyboard button we press. So integer +1 toString, and we're going to put a period and a space bar. Just put some space in between there, and let's print this out. Print string. One more time. Welcome to this tutorial series. Hit 1. Sorry it took so long. We only have one option. That is next. Hopefully it was worth it, but it probably wasn't. We only have one option again. That is next. Have you made a visual novel before? We have yes and no. And finish. Alright. So that's all working fine and dandy. Now what did I mean when I say we can only choose, it only shows the options from our available, from the choices that we're actually able to select? Well, when we make an option, let's make another option, let's add a speech child. Oh, really quick, sometimes the little circle doesn't pop up when you make a new speech child. In order to fix that, you just click and drag off one of these, don't do anything, and it'll pop back up. Just thought I mentioned that. So, I think that goes to this end node. This is going to be you cannot get here. What we're going to do is we're going to make it this an option that we can never ever select. Okay. So to do that, let's make a condition, and it's going to be a was node already visited. And the node we're going to check to see if we already visited was number 5, because we can never have visited number 5. Don't wait. Long-term memory, say no, just in case a previous version of this had number 5 visiting it, which I believe this used to be number 5. Hit save. So in order to get here, we have to have visited number 5 already, but there's only one way to get to number 5, so we can never ever get here. Okay. So if we try playing, hit 1, hit 1, hit 1, you see that we still only have 2 choices, yes and no. Okay. In order to make it so we can actually see that choice that we can't select, off our DLG context, we're going to get option num instead of option num for our for loop. And instead of getting option text, we are going to get option get option text from all. Plug that in here. Also, instead of choosing child, we are going to choose child based on all option index. Choose child based on all option index. This is going to be index 1. child based off of option index. This is going to be option 2. Compile, press play, hit 1. Sorry it took so long, hopefully it was worth it. Have you made a visual novel before? Yes. Number 2, there is no text because I forgot to put a text, and number 3 is no. Let me put a text really quick, just so that there's something there. Text, you cannot select me. Very sassy. 1, yes. 2, you cannot select me. 3 is no. If we try clicking 2, it's going to give us an error because we cannot enter that edge, no matter what. Alright, and we're going to be stuck on, press F8 to eject. We're going to be stuck over here as long as we keep trying to select 2. So let's hit actually F8 to repossess. Hit 1 to get out of there. Finish, yay. Alright. So that is how you make a option that has enter conditions. Obviously, you know, you would want options that you can actually enter, but let's work on those later. There's one more thing we want to talk about before we... Actually, there's 2 more things we want to talk about. First is the speech sequence node. Okay? Now, this is a very convenient node. Let me delete this. Let me you see how much space this is taking up? These 3 things right here? That's taking up a lot of space considering how there's really nothing much going on here except for these 3 lines of text. If we select these, right click somewhere over here instead, don't right click on this because nothing's gonna be there. Excuse me. Right click somewhere over here, you can see convert select speech nodes to select sequence node. If we do that, oh, we get this nice space saving node. This would be a great thing to use, except for visual novels, because in visual novels there's typically a skip mode where you can skip past text that you have already visited before in previous playthroughs. So in a second playthrough, you know, you probably don't want to read a 5-hour-long intro before you select another choice again. You probably just want to skip through all that. I'm talking to you if my heart had wings. So how we're going to be doing our skip function, however, makes it so we can't actually use this because what we're going to be doing here, let's revert this back to speech notes. What we are going to be doing is when we enter a node, if skip is active, we're going to check to see what the index of the next node is. And if that next node we've already visited before, then we keep on skipping until we either hit something with options for the player to choose from, or until we hit something that we haven't already visited. Okay? So we start at 0, we check the next one, it's 1, we check the next one, it's 2. So that works fine and dandy. However, if this is a speech sequence node, we start at 0, the next one is still 0, and one after that is still 0. So even if we haven't hit sorry it took so long, if we hit welcome to this tutorial series, it's going to think we can skip past sorry it took so long, and hopefully it was worth it, because they're all number 0. That's why we can't use the speech sequence node here. Convert back to speech notes. If you don't want to have a skip option, then the speech sequence node is a great way to save space though. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now the other thing that we need to talk about is the selector node. What the selector node basically does is it looks through a bunch of options from left to right to see which one is the first one we can go through. Alright? So let's take advantage of that over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of this down. I'm going to start at the select node instead. And I'm going to have another option, speech child. This is going to say welcome back to this tutorial. And it's just going to jump straight to the question, so we don't have to read through all of these anymore. Alright. In the conditions for this one, we're going to say we can enter this if strong condition if node was already visited, number 2. So if node number 2 was already visited, if we already went through welcome to this tutorial series, we're gonna say welcome back to this tutorial instead. And then we're gonna jump to the question. Save that. So now if we hit play, it says welcome back to this tutorial. And we can hit 1. And it moves on to the question. Make sure that your conditions are on the left, however, because if we move this to the right of these, hit save, you'll notice it says welcome to this tutorial series, because we are able to go down this path, so it doesn't bother checking this one. It only keeps checking until we find something we can go down through. Hit save. Also, by the way, you'll notice that these numbers change. Right now this says 1, but if we move it to the right, save, this is 2, this is 1. It automatically renumbers the nodes according to which one's to the left and right of each one. Alright, I think that about covers everything about the dialog system. Well, everything for now that we need to know about it. Obviously, looking at an output log is not very exciting, so in the next video we are going to change it so we use widgets to display our text. And I'll see you then, hopefully.